Hi, this is the Laughing Retirement. I'm Chip Stites.
And I'm Shonna Stites, and we're coming to you from our house in Italy, in central Italy today. And we want to share something special with you today. But as an introduction, we want to share some of our favorite experiences this week from everyday life in Italy. So, what was your favorite
It's
experience
it's
this week, Chip?
it's always something. This particular week was olive picking week, and olive picking on the side of a hill is pretty hard work, but we're doing it with friends and neighbors, and that makes it a lot of fun. And we've been working for a couple hours, and my best friend Bruno, who's sitting up in a tree picking olives, is 80 years old, and all of a sudden he starts singing a song. Oddly enough, it's not an Italian song. It's an old Neil Sedaka song because that was his favorite music when he was growing up. Neil Sedaka and Neil Diamond, and it goes on and on. So pretty soon, we're all singing old American songs from when I was a kid.
My favorite experience this week was I went to have my hair done, and my stylist has a shop in town, and it's a small place. It has six chairs and two sinks, and she rents out the chairs to a couple other ladies that come in and work part-time. And the front of it is all glass. So we're sitting there, she's working on my hair, and pretty soon I look out of the corner of my eye and I see this gentleman in a car, and he's parked outside the shop, and he's staring inside the shop. And I wonder, what's he looking at? Pretty soon I see him give her a hand signal. And I said, and she gives him one back, and they're doing hand signals through the glass. And I said to her, does he want an appointment? I said, I have time. You can work him in if you'd like. And she said, oh no. She said, I'm frosting your hair. He can wait. And so she gives him the sign, and he drives off. And I thought, that's so funny because, in America, I had to have 2 weeks, I think, ahead. I had to plan ahead 2 weeks to get in to see my stylist. And here it's a town of 50,000 people, so it's not that big, but it still has a real hometown kind of feel. There's probably 150,000 people living in this area, but I just thought how a novel experience it was. He didn't even get out of the car, he didn't have to call her on the phone, just give her a hand signal through the glass.
That's Italy. It's much more casual than it is in the United States. I'm going to screen share so we can talk about. Today, we have a special invitation in mind. We'd like you to come with us for a week here in central Italy, learning about Italy.
About life in Italy, yeah. And we want to offer it next fall. We're going to have mornings in a type of an information type seminar, and afternoons and evenings we're going to take you on tours of the surroundings and show you what it's like to live here. It's kind of a boots on the ground experience of life in Italy.
Where do we want to do this? Well, we want to do this real close to where we live in central Italy. And one of the special things about it is it's not a tourist area.
So our afternoon agenda, this is kind of the fun part, or I hope it's all fun, would be visiting the sites that tourists don't see, so you can see what it's like to go and not really sightsee, but maybe kind of sightsee like an Italian. Explore. It's more like exploring. I'm going to have a cooking class, but it's not going to be just about how do I make an Italian dish. It's going to be more in depth about what they do and how they do it, and how they eat, and what do they eat and why do they eat it that way. And then we're going to let you get out on your own some and get the feel of an Italian city and Italian lifestyle. We're also going to show you a lot of that, what it's like to live here, not just visit. And then transportation, of course, is going to be provided for you for all of that time, for this 5-6 days are here. And we're also going to include in the lessons or the learning part, one-on-one consultations. So, bring your questions. Obviously, not everyone is going to want to create the kind of lifestyle that we have, but we can help you find the kind of lifestyle that's going to fit best for you and what you're looking for with regard to moving, finances, visas, all of that.
And we're going to take you to some sampling restaurants, some of our favorites. Now, You'll be able to go to some Michelin star restaurants, which are right in this area. I think there are three. And you also go to a 0 kilometer restaurant. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that all the food you're going to eat in the restaurant, or 90% of it, comes from within 10 to 20 kilometers of where we're living. And that's one of the reasons we like the food here so much. We're going to visit some historic cities, and we're going to do some wine tastings, more than one. And we'll go to our favorite trattoria where the owner is a good friend, and he will tell you about the wines and the food that he serves. And we'll also have a special wine tasting with a sommelier available to you.
One of the things that we're going to cover that we think, as far as our experience goes, people are most interested in is, how do we get there? How do we move? And I can tell you how we did it. I can tell you the things that worked best and why. And I've helped a lot of other people do it. And I can tell you what not to do and the mistakes we made as well. And just help you. There's a lot involved in that. So I was actually the logistical part of our move here. So I was in charge of that. So I'll be doing a lot of answering a lot of those kinds of questions.
And I got our visa. It was about an 8-month process. And we'll take you through the process so you can understand it.
And yes, and that's also changes a lot. I'm going to also bring in somebody to talk to you about Italian versus US taxes. That's something that Chip is very up on. It's changing all the time. Right now, we don't pay any Italian taxes, but some people may have to. And so we talk about that.
And we're going to talk about real estate. Do you want to rent or do you want to buy? What are the problems with each and how does it work?
We're going to bring some people in to talk about that too. Healthcare, Italian versus US, our experience here. Chip and I have both been hospitalized in Italy, so we can tell you all about that and how it's different, how it works.
We're also going to explain to you the financial aspects of living abroad and how to set up a system that works best for you and what to do with your finances to avoid some of the fears that Americans always have about their finances in retirement.
And then we're going to talk a lot and answer a lot of questions about the language and the customs, because they organize their culture differently. They organize their society differently than we do. They have different priorities than we have. We're going to talk a lot about the language, learning the language, and how to navigate in Italy if you don't know much Italian, that kind of thing.
Yeah. We didn't know a lot when we moved here, but certainly it was probably our biggest mistake, if you want one, was not knowing enough Italian. So what are we asking for? Well, very simply, we want an indication of your interest. You're not saying I'm coming, but you are saying I'm interested in seeing if we can put this together. So what will you do? You'll send your name and I'm interested to info@thelaughing-retirement. And we will send you some information back. There's no commitment until February 15th of 2024 with a non-refundable down payment. The dates, well, you'll arrive September 22nd and you'll leave September 28th.
So just to make sure that we're going to try to tailor this to the group that we have. And first of all, we need to have enough people interested to make it worth our while. Secondly, this is probably not going to be a huge group of people. Thirdly, I'm going to send out a questionnaire and have you write down your top 3, wants and needs as far as what you're interested in discovering, or information that you need the most help with. And we also have an American travel agent who lives here.
Chris Rousseau actually moved here and was here for 1.5 years before we met him. His email address is chris@alternativetravelservices.com. And he will be able to help you with any other traveling you want to do, in addition to the airfare getting here. If you want to go to Naples or visit Venice or wherever you'd like to go, he's not like a travel agent who came in for 4 days. He's like a travel agent who actually lives here.
Yeah, and anywhere else you want to go in Europe, he could probably hook you up with that. So
we want to thank you.
We want to show you some of our locally produced wines. These you can't buy in the grocery store, not even here.
This is called a natural wine. And what it means is it's produced just north of us. It's a small batch. You won't find it in any stores anywhere, and it is absolutely delicious. And yours?
Mine comes from a winery and alternative food, store, and they produce this sparkling wine, and it's also organic. And so we will have a wine tasting there, or at least we will introduce you to these wines.
We look forward to your interest, to your estimations of interest, and we will talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.